Okay, so today is the last in my series on the key areas that you could be focusing on if you're looking to improve mental health and wellbeing outcomes across your community. So I want to talk today about target groups. Now, target groups are a really important part of making improvements happen. There are lots of different things that we can be doing to make things happen across mental health, as you would have heard in my series of videos. If you haven't seen them already, please go and check them out, where I talk about a variety of things that you can be focusing on. But one thing that comes through quite regularly from either general anecdotal discussions, statistics and trends, but also local data that is collected, is there is often a group that may be struggling that needs targeted support. So while you might be doing some work around general things around belonging and connection and gaps in support services, etc., you may have a priority focus on a specific target group. Now, I'll give you an example in my own community. When I first started this process, I came at it as an educator. So I came at it as having the focus area that I really was concerned about was youth. They had no support services available locally, had to travel quite a long distance to get support services, had very little offered in the way of things that they could do besides sport in terms of getting their own belonging and connection. And they were kind of a forgotten demographic. So that became a focus area, and we created objectives and priorities around supporting that group. And that has led to incredible progress. There's now been a youth zone building developed. There's been a youth officer instated. There's been huge changes. We've now got access to varied support services. There's been a lot of different changes that have happened as a result of that, having that target group as a priority. Now, when a new set of data has been collected and we've looked at further trends, a new area has been identified, and our demographic of males in our local area are really struggling. Certainly the statistics at the moment across mental health in general, when it comes to the male demographic, are not particularly positive. They currently make up 0.75% of suicides. Now, I think it's important to really reflect and notice that when you're picking a target group, and you may often be looking at minority groups, you may often be looking at groups that aren't being considered in your local area, it doesn't mean that you're not addressing the rest of the community. It just means for a period of time, there's going to be some focused intention on that. But it's really important that as you word things, you consider your wording to be inclusive while also being able to have a focus area on a certain group. Now, I talk a lot about that in the work that I do, but that's just a little bit of a snapshot on that. Now, when it comes to looking at any target group, it's really about looking at what is the data showing, both the local data, the systemic data, the organisational data. It's then looking at what priorities could you be addressing and what objectives and strategies could you be addressing in order to consider that target group. It is 100%, 200% essential that you get the voice of that group you're targeting, because while you may have identified that group clearly from data or from anecdotally, you cannot assume to know stuff about a group without going to them. So, for example, if you're working with the aged population or the Indigenous population or the LGBT community, you must get out there and hear from those voices, because you cannot ever assume to think you know what it's like to walk in the shoes of those people. It's really important. I do apologise, my dog is scratching. It's really important that you get the voice of those people if you're going to make change happen, and make sure that they're part of the process. Okay, that I cannot emphasise that enough. When you've got all those things, then it's about finding a plan and looking at funding to support that. And that's where, if you look at my last series of videos on the framework and the process of development, when you're at the momentum phase, you can very much be looking at getting a grant writer. There are lots of grants around that really look at targeted areas. And when you have a well-written plan and well well-developed processes, it becomes quite easy to have grants then start to fall at your feet. I know some people find that hard to believe, but honestly, when you do the work leading up and you have identified a target group, you can actually get some really good funding to support improvements in that area. Look, I'm going to leave it there. That's the last in my series of key areas to look at when considering improving mental health and wellbeing across your community. But I'm going to have lots more videos coming out all the time in order to help you improve mental health through a collaborative cross-sector approach, because I really feel passionately about this. If you'd like to stay up to date with that, please like and subscribe my page or my channel. And until next time, I'll see you later.